Hi everybody, Jessie here from jessiebanks.com, and we're back with another color focus video. So we have done a blue, a red, and a green, and now I'm pulling out a yellow. This is one of my favorite yellows. This is Nicolazo yellow. It is made from pigment PY150, so it's a yellow pigment, a single pigment color. It has excellent light fastness, and we will find out about the granulation and the staining and the transparency in this. Even though I have the answers beside me, I still like to experiment. So, what the Daniel Smith website says about this pigment, Nicolazo yellow in mass tone resembles yellow ochre, and when thinned out and washes, it becomes a brilliant glowing yellow. This transparent yellow is perfect for autumn leaves for the duller, the ochre leaves to the brilliant yellow of the sunlit leaves against a deep blue autumn sky. I really, really like this color. I think it has a fun variation in the colors you can get to it. I will say that the state of California does have a cancer warning on this. The state of California has a cancer warning on everything. If you're from California, I'm sorry, but it's true. Anyway, so I have squeezed some here out onto my butcher's block, and we are going to add a little bit of water to it and start with our mass tone. So our mass tone is the color in its full strength, so I do add a little bit of yellow or a little bit of water to that as well because it is watercolor, but I do keep it very, very, very saturated to get that mass tone so that it's basically the color that comes straight out of the tube. So fill in this mass tone bar with that, and then underneath of it I will start by filling in the first half of this one with the mass tone as well. So that will let us check the transparency as well as the staining properties of this color. This little card, if you guys haven't watched this series before, is from Waffle Flower. It is their swatch card stamp and die. So it comes like this, and you get the stamp on one side, pardon my band-aid, and the finger and the die cut on the other side. I had cut my finger the other day. Anyway, so I just use this to cut out all of my tags, and then I stamp this in the middle, which gives me all of the information we need. So I am going to blend this out now to the edge so that you can see the gradation you can get out of this color and how it goes from, like they were talking about, that really saturated ochre color into like some super vivid bright yellows. I really think it's so fun how this color blends out into these, like, look at that gorgeous yellow, from how dark and beautiful the mass tone is to that really bright yellow. You'll see it a little better once it dries. Of course, I will have photos of everything. So we're going to set this off to the side, and I am going to pull in, this is just Canson XL paper. My swatch was done on Arches cold press. I'm just going to zoom out and we'll be right back to do some color mixing. Okay, I'm back. I just pulled out a couple fun things for this one. This color is really enjoyable. Okay, so let's start with just some basic things that I would do. So I'll take our Nicolazo yellow. Let me pull this in a little bit. Let me adjust so you guys can see a little bit of what's going on here. Then I'm going to grab some of my Carbazole violet. So this is Daniel Smith's version of dioxazine. So with just a little bit you can get kind of like a muddy brown color. If I add a little more, it stays brown but gets darker, has that purple shift to it. It's kind of a really maroony type purple. You'll be able to see this a little more as it there. Then you don't have the glare on it. And if I take it more to the purple side of things, that is what we get. I think that's a really pretty combination. I use kind of this area a lot for shadows on my floral paintings and stuff of that nature. Let's take it and mix it with a little bit of Pyrrole Scarlet, sorry. So if I mix a lot of yellow in with that, you'll get a real soft orange. If I take some more, and I'm just doing, like, as you can see, I'm just mixing a little bit more each time just to tint it to the other end of the spectrum so you can kind of see a little bit of everything. And this will give us a darker orange. I tend not to keep a lot of oranges on my palette simply because they are really easy to mix. If I bring in a little bit of Phthalo Blue, that was a lot of Phthalo Blue. Phthalo Blue is a very strong color. Let's pull in a little more of the yellow so that it's You get a real sappy looking green. It's kind of brighter than your typical sap green. If I take even more yellow into that. Oh, I'll be right back. Okay, back to where I wasn't. My sister showed up. She needed to borrow a little cat food till her husband gets home after work. So I'm going to add a little more of our phthalo blue to this, which creates more of like what I would classify as your standard crayon green. I don't think I'd ever use that color, but these two are really pretty. It also mixes really well with Prussian Blue. Now, I don't have Prussian Blue in the Daniel Smith formula, but I do have it in my Schmincke palette. So I did pull that out just to do a little mixing with it for you guys. It's not the same brand. It's the same pigment number, so it's the PB27. Pick up some of that yellow, which will give us more of a hooker's green type S color. So it gets kind of like a green gold. Whoops, I keep bumping my camera. Make everybody seasick today. And then it goes a little darker. And darker, but still green, still very green. I'll go one more. And really dark. I really like that. Okay, now this color, now Daniel Smith had Quinacridone Gold, which was a single pigment color. It was PO49, but they ran out of that pigment. I still have it on all of my palettes. I have like 8 or 10 tubes on backstock so that I never run out of it. But the new pigment for making Quinacridone Gold is this PY150, which is this Nicolazo yellow, and it's this color here, which is the Quinacridone Burnt Orange, which is PO48. So these two together, pardon me, I'm hiccuping, do create the new Daniel Smith Quinacridone Gold. And everybody's Quinacridone Gold basically is these two pigments. I know some of them are slightly different, but... So we're going to start by taking some of this. And we'll start with, I think I took too much of that to start. And this is basically your Quinacridone Gold color. So if I wash this out with lots of water and fade it out, you'll see how that yellow still comes through. And it gets really, really lively and bright. But it's still really saturated in orange on this end, just like the traditional Quinacridone Gold was. So that would be this one right here. Here is the original Quinacridone Gold. So you can see how close those colors really are. I know in terms of mixing, I prefer mixing with single pigment colors, so that is why I'm happy to have a stockpile of it. In all honesty, these colors are so close, it's insane. I do find that the washed out version on this end, like on our mix, leans a little cooler than the washed out version you can see here with our original, but it's still glowy and bright and yellow, and I love this color. In both forms, I love this color. You can make it a little more orange with adding more of that Quinacridone orange, or Quinacridone burnt orange. And you can see how these dried out. Like, they looked so orange when we put them on, but now that they've dried, that's a really pretty corally color. And look at that for a start of a flush tone. Like, isn't that a beautiful start to a flush tone? So that is our PY150 and our Paraline Scarlet. And both of those are on my little Daniel Smith travel palette here that I carry around with me all the time. But that is a fantastic kind of skin tone range. This would be great for blushing and whatever else. And if you were to add a little bit of your Carbazole Violet to that, you'd get a really good shade, like shadow color for in your skin tones, which I think is super exciting. Super fun, super fun. Another color that I heard mixed really well with this is Rose of Ultramarine. Now, Rose of Ultramarine is a dual pigment color. We will go over it later, but anyway, it is Ultramarine Blue and Quinacridone Red mixed together. So this is a convenience mix. You can mix this yourself on your palette out of what you have. It'll react the same. But let's put a dab of it here on our palette and see what these two do together. And that'll be our last test for today as to what we can do with this color. I don't want to, there, we'll try that. So I'm going to pull over a little bit of the Rose of Ultramarine, and then we'll pick up a little bit of our Nicolazo Yellow and mix them together. So this is lots of yellow, a little bit of the Rose of Ultramarine, which will cause it to granulate because of the ultramarine blue that is in the Rose of Ultramarine color. That's not being caused by our nickel azo color, it is being caused by the ultramarine blue. So you can see the difference of how this one shows the difference really well of how this has granulated and this is just smooth, right? Which is a really nice thing to see side by side. You can get some really beautiful rusty red, purpley, like look at that color. That is beautiful. Let's see what happens if we add a little more to that mix. I think that's, now we're going to start turning it back to purple, I do believe. But you can see how I'm only showing you guys on average like 3 of the mixes that you can get out of these colors, but look at how many more there are. So that combination is really pretty. I really love that. You could paint, if you enjoy painting sands and like Arizona-esque feeling paintings, this is definitely a beautiful palette for that, like right in here with just those 2 colors. I really enjoy that. Okay, I'm going to clean up and then we will come back and do our lifting test and everything on our original swatch. Alright, so we are back and zoomed back in and we are going to do our lifting tests and things here. So I have my little scrubber brush that I like to use, and I'm going to start by getting some clean water on it and seeing how well this lifts. I have too much water. So we take it in and I do a little bit of scrubbing. I don't like to scrub too hard on this because I don't want to wreck the integrity of the paper, but I do want to get as much of that color up as I can without pilling and destroying the integrity of the paper. So that is kind of what we are after here. Let it dry for a minute. See if we can get any more of that up. And I think that's about it. Okay, so now let's fill in the bottom of our little chart here so that we know. So granulating color, no, this is definitely not granulating. That is a very smooth color, very much like this. What you're seeing there is actually just the texture of the paper. So it's a very smooth color, whereas this one is a granulating color. You can see how the granulations lay out here, whereas our blend here is very, very smooth. Right, so we won't fill that in. Transparency, this is a very transparent color, and it is low staining. So I am going to fill in half of this one here, because it does stain. And of course it is an excellent on the light fast scale, so we will leave all 5 stars there. We'll add that to our little ring of other colors that we have done so far. If you haven't checked this out, I'll link the entire color spotlight series here, but we have Quinacridone Coral, we have Ultramarine Blue, and then these are both Sap Green. This is the original with the Quinacridone Gold, and this is with the new Quinacridone Gold. I just swatched both because I have them both. So we'll add that one on, and that will be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys back next Tuesday with our next color focus. Have a great day. Bye for now.